Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Reignition. My name is Ryan G, and today's episode was actually the very first one that I recorded. This was back when this whole project was still in its research and development phase, but I was able to talk to my friend and old coworker, Elanka Wolmarans, before she moved from Arizona across the country. So I'm really glad that I was able to have this discussion with her about her experience coming to the States from South Africa. I like being a part of the conversation, and I hope you enjoyed as well. It's official. We're recording. We're
Actually?
Yeah,
Is that what the whole clap was about?
Yeah, because the audio and the video are being recorded separately. So when I clap in post, I can use the clap that the mic picks up and the clap on the camera to sync it up. So then when we talk on the camera, it actually, like, the words are this at the same time.
I said, you're way too cool, Ryan. Damn, okay.
Yep. So
how are we starting this?
That's a good question. This is my first podcast.
Oh my goodness, you're so welcome for blessing you with my presence.
Thank you. First podcast with another person. As you know, I filmed one by myself.
That's true. And now I get to do it.
Yep. Yeah. Welcome. So today I'm here with Elanka. I'm going to have you say your last name for me.
Wolmarans.
Yes.
That's how we say it.
Yeah.
With all the R's and stuff too.
I like it. And we are actually now ex-coworkers as of about 25 minutes ago. You literally just worked your last shift.
I did.
How did that feel?
It was... Okay, so honestly, like, I got into work this morning and I was like, oh, everything's like, it's fine. I'm good. I'm like, I knew it was my last day, but it was just so busy. Like I mentioned earlier, like, I just kept working and working. So I didn't really think about it up until like a solid 10 minutes ago, thanks to all the friends for the gift. And then I was just like, oh my goodness, it's hitting me right now. So, it's bittersweet because I love this property so much. I love working with all of you guys. I feel like we were a solid team, and I don't know, like, I feel like we're gonna work together in the future again. Yeah, I'm excited.
The hospitality industry is a small world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, we currently work at a luxury resort in Scottsdale, which is fun. It's actually where we're at now. For those watching. We reserved one of the hotel rooms.
We did.
Under the alias John Guerrero. No one will know.
I had to make it fun. Meanwhile, everybody is just like, what are you and Ryan doing? And it's like, what? I don't know a Ryan. It's John.
It's John today.
I love it, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you came here from South Africa. So how long ago did you come to the States?
So November 11th, it'll be 2 years officially now.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So a couple of years.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm sure that was just crazy. So like being in your early 20s, moving from a country that I'm assuming you spent up until that point, like your entire life there, and then going across the world, across the ocean over here.
Oh yeah, 100%. So the thing for me was like, when you're like little, you're like, oh, I'm gonna like work overseas, I'm gonna work in the States, it's gonna be so much fun. And then when my parents signed up for the green card lottery in, I think it was 2014 or something like that, and then my stepmom, she actually won, and my dad did not.
Oh,
so
wow.
She was able to come over, and that's like how the whole journey started. And she got here in late 2014. She basically started out 2-bedroom apartment in Florida. She started serving. I think I told you the other day she had like a beat down car, and my dad used to come and visit her every 6 months. So then they got married here in court, so that he was also eligible, and making the process a little bit easier. But it was actually so cute because he first asked her to marry him in Spain.
Okay. Wow.
So that was pretty cool. So they were engaged for quite a lot of years, but they haven't really physically planned a wedding up until they were like, okay, so we're moving to the States. We're going to have a wedding there, invite all the kids as soon as the paperwork is sorted out and everybody is there. Then we're going to have like a big get together. And so a couple of years like in, I think like around 2017 or something, she bought her first house and made it an Airbnb in Florida. And so my dad, again, every 6 months would go and visit, help her set up the home, help her paint, and do like work around the house. And that's basically how she made the biggest like part of her income at the end of the day. And she did really well. We've always been in hospitality, like from my parents' side, always. We had guest houses in South Africa too. So that's also just like a little background on how it started. And then in 2017, actually, that was when I came over for the first time.
Okay.
Ever.
And that was in Florida?
That was in Florida.
Okay. What was your first impression?
It's humid. I was just like sticky, and I was just like, oh my goodness. But I think my expectations were so incredibly high. Like, I don't know what I was. I think I was like, at that point, I was like, oh, like it's gonna be big. And it was incredibly big. It was also just like pretty nerve-wracking. I got really nervous to talk to people, because it's like you come from like a language which you grew up with, and then all of a sudden you're being hit with English all around, and you have to talk English to everybody. And it's so in our culture, it is considered rude when you would just start talking in your own language to people. So that's why sometimes you would hear me and I would be like, sorry, Ryan, I'm just gonna talk in my language real fast, is that okay? So, and then I would just like pop off in my language, and everyone's just like, whoa, that's so interesting.
It's cool to hear.
So yeah, and then that was quite like, I felt not like, I don't know how to say it, not threatened, but like very intimidated. That's the word.
Yeah.
I felt intimidated. It was quite intense. And I mean, even moving here like the 2 years ago, there was a period of my life while I was like going through the whole process of background checks for jobs and stuff, I didn't speak to anybody. So it was just me at home, waiting for that whole process to be completed. And stepping into my first American job, I was so nervous. I was like, oh man, now I have to talk to people.
Yeah, especially in hospitality, like it's your job to be there and to talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. Like in my first week, I just remember being like, hi, welcome in. And I'm just like, hi, welcome. How can I help you?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine you ever being like more timid, just because I don't know, you have such a big personality and big presence at work. Like you'll roll and you're like, what up, Elanka's here.
Thank you, I try.
Yeah, your life just got better, what's up?
Yes, thank you. No, I'm kidding. I know, and that's like the big thing with COVID, like that I think in everybody's life, COVID had some sort of effect. Like obviously you get people, they come out of COVID and they were like, oh, it changed my life. Like I'm such like mental health, like everything is so good with me right now. And then for me, it was quite the opposite. A lot of anxiety, a lot of like fear, so much fear, and especially like moving right in the midst of COVID.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 years ago, that's right in the middle of it.
Yeah, right in the middle of it. Like on the airport, at the airport, my mom, she couldn't go in with me, so I was alone. I was like alone. She had to drop me off in front of the door. And then I remember I was like, I'm not going. I'm good. Like, let's go back to the car. And she like turned around. She's like, wait, what? And I'm like, yes. Okay, come. I'm ready. Let's go home. Like, let's go home right now. And then we got to the car and she stopped me and she like looked at me and she's like, you need this. You need this. Like, you need to start living. And she was like, you lived in fear for way too long. You need to get out of the house. You need to get into the world. And you need to start living. And I was like, okay, like, sure, mama. So that was what was hard about it. And then, it was good. It was good getting into the world, being like, okay, I have to talk to people. I have to actually start using my brain again, because I was always just at home, alone, staring at four walls and like hanging out with my sister, which was the bomb. I'm not gonna lie, that definitely helped our relationship more at the end of the day. But then leaving that, it's like, oh, that's just a whole different other fear now, because it's like fear of leaving your family. But then again, rejoining with my dad, like that was the best part of it too.
Yeah. 'Cause I know you said your mom moved out here in 2014 and you visited for the first time in 2017. I know you said your dad would come and visit your mom. What's the timeline? So your mom's here in 2014, and at one point did your dad come over?
Also 2017. So
okay.
I came over to visit when he officially moved.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was when he did the big move. He was like applying for jobs at that point. Me being like, I want to explore Disneyland.
Yeah, of course.
Do all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Also just like, that was the first time that I failed one of my like university tests. So I told my dad about it, and he was like, oh my goodness, like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not. And then we actually went to Disney World that day.
Went to Disney World to cheer up failing
Yes,
a college exam?
A college exam.
Oh, wow.
I felt better. Thanks,
Okay,
Dad.
that's good.
Shout out.
Yeah. I dropped out of college, so I don't even know how many exams that I failed. I was a pretty bad student at first. But I do understand like that, like the anxiety that comes, especially with being here during COVID, because I was working as a server during COVID and all that got shut down. I was living with my parents, and I mean, for like weeks, my parents were like, don't leave the house. You can go out back, but I couldn't drive anywhere. Like, my mom and I were inside. My dad was the one that went out and got groceries because nobody really knew what was going on.
Right.
So I completely understand the anxiety that came with that. But
here we are, though.
yeah.
And I mean, like, yes, COVID is still a thing, but it's good. I feel like we found a way to deal with it without that fear and anxiety anymore, which I feel is good. I mean, when I first got it, I was freaking out. And that was here in the States 2 months into my new job.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, wow, great. And I was scared they were going to fire me and be like, oh, okay. And then I was like, no, they can't do that.
Yeah, they can't fire you for getting COVID.
Right. I know, but then again, my fear and anxiety being like, ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's part of life.
It is. So your dad moved in 2017 and you came and visited and went back to South Africa. So you were there, were you by yourself for 3 years? Or, I mean, obviously you had like your friends, other family, your whole community was there, but how was it to be over there, like, while your parents were in the States?
So, my mom and dad got divorced when I was very young. So my dad remarried.
Okay.
And so my mom and my sister and like my whole family is still back home in South Africa, brother, everybody. And so at that point I was still in college. I was still, or university as we would call it. I was a second year law student.
Whoa.
You're
going to law school? Whoa. Okay.
So I was a law student, and oh man, my second year in, after I visited the States, when I went back, oh man, like this big wave of depression just hit me. Like, all of a sudden, I was not enjoying the field I was going into. I didn't enjoy studying it anymore. And I used to have like a thrill for it. I was like, family law was my favorite.
Okay.
I was like all about the justice system and I'm going to help kids. And, you know, me being here today when the kids ring the bell at the desk and I'm just like, oh, that kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like, and I still stand for it. I mean, if I didn't lose interest in it, that would definitely be my field I would go into, just because I really, I don't know, I have a love for people and I have so much love to give. And so at that point, I even went to like one of the, you know, like the, what do you call it? I'm trying to think right now. See, this is me thinking about it in my language and trying to translate it directly right now.
Yeah.
It's like a counselor that we had at university that would help you try and figure out which field you would want to go into. Yeah. And he pinpointed it out and he was like, I think the problem is the subjects that you have right now at college, you don't enjoy them. So now you're like, you don't like the field anymore. And I was like, huh, okay, that makes sense. There are like some subjects that I still love, but most of it was just like not what I was interested in. And after my visit the first time, I was like, there's not really anything for me to do in that field since I'm studying abroad, like in South Africa. The only field that I would be able to go into is international law or trade.
Okay.
And at one point, that was when I decided I was going to switch my degree. So I switched my major to marketing.
Okay.
Marketing. So with that, I had business school, I had economics, I had international trade, which broadened my mind more and helped me understand like the states more, hospitality more, business more, which I felt was more my field of interest. And so again, every 6 months I would come and visit them and then go back home, study, come and visit them every vacation or holiday. And yeah, so that's how I would. And then yes, like be with friends, be with my family there, and then coming to visit my dad this side, and like my stepmom and everybody. And so at least I had like a good supporting field on both ends.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which was pretty good. I feel like.
Yeah. What was the main inspiration or motivation for, I don't know, like coming to the conclusion like that you wanted to leave South Africa and come move here and live here permanently in the States?
Oh man. So at that point I was in a relationship with someone, and great person, great guy, you know.
You can call him out, it's okay.
It's like I want to but I won't. No, he was amazing, but I think looking back and more deeper into it, it wasn't the time for me to be more focused on that, and that was what I was invested in. And so obviously, you know, your friends and your family see things that you do not. Once you're like blinded by things that are not necessarily that good for you, you don't see it, so you're just like, no, but it makes me feel good in that moment, so why would I change that for myself? And so it was just like the motivation of, so he moved to a different province in South Africa at that point. He moved to Cape Town, and I was super stoked for him because that was also half and half, like a good financial and career move for him, because he was he's a bartender too, so he does really well in the hospitality field as well. And I also learned a lot from him. So then he got a job. So I decided for myself, I was like, okay, so you can't really, you know, see him 24/7 anymore. You can't text him 24/7 anymore. So you need to find something for yourself. And that was when I called my dad and I was like, hey, okay, so I know I was supposed to come in March. I know I changed my mind a lot, but will you still be willing to help me out with a ticket to come to the States so I can actually start living and start getting like streetwise? And because I wasn't at all. And you know, like actually growing up, I had to grow up and I had to get a job and I had to learn how to take care of myself and, you know, also try and support my family as best I can. And so that was, I think, at that point where I was like, okay, let's do it. It's scary, but let's do it.
That is a big jump.
I know. I know.
That's good. She's like, all right, yeah, sure. Let's just move to a different continent.
I know. And like, I remember, I think it was like 2 days before I left. I was going through all of my stuff, like all of my childhood things and everything. And the things I didn't like, I burned. And then I know I had like a little session by myself outside of her house courtyard. And I was just like sitting there and I was like, oh man, I can't believe I wrote this. So let's burn that. And then I had like a whole like sketchbook and like, oh my goodness, about John Travolta, man. And I was like, this needs to go.
Were you obsessed with John Travolta?
Oh yeah. He was so amazing in Grease. Come on. I was like all for it. Mr. Danny. I'm like, come on. How could you not?
Yeah. How, like, coming over here, what was the amount of space that you had for the things that you could bring? was it like a couple suitcases, or did you fly a bunch of stuff over here?
I yes, 2 suitcases.
Okay,
My
that was it.
whole life in 2 suitcases.
Wow.
23 years of my life, 2 suitcases.
That's crazy.
Talk about minimalism.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that.
I know you're a big fan of that, though.
Yeah, but
you're doing
good.
good.
I thought I was minimal because all of my belongings can fit in like a car and a half.
It can't anymore.
No, I mean it. Well, I bought a bed.
I know, and we're so proud of you for that, though.
I know. Yeah, when I first moved to the area, I was sleeping on an air mattress. I did that for a few months, and it was fine. It was really comfortable, but after a while, especially in Arizona, it wouldn't get hot in my room, but it would get warm. And you know how air mattresses have that smell?
Oh, well.
I don't know. It didn't feel good to like come home from a long day of work and lay in bed
and
I'm like, it smells like rubber. Like my bed smells like rubber. I'm like, okay. And even in my room, right above my bed, I have one of those plant hooks in the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
And I took a camping lantern. I'm like, all right, this'll fill out the aesthetic. And I hung a camping lantern from the hook. So I had my air mattress, my camping lantern.
I love it though. I love it. That's
yeah.
so you. That's like so you. Just like climbing and bouldering, and then he said, "I'm camping out in my room."
Yeah,
I don't need anything
honestly
else.
Did feel like I was camping out because I had the lantern, the bed, and then my desk, which my desk is still this. It's a metal 4-foot foldable camping table.
Oh my goodness.
Because I saw it, I'm like, hey, perfect. That'd make for a great desk, and it can still fit in my car, so that it all folds up.
It's all about the minimalism. Can your bed, because you have like the steel frame at the bottom.
Yeah.
When you
I don't even have a proper bed frame. They are like, it's like metal. It's like a metal frame, but everything's foldable. The thing can.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But can it fit in your car?
It can fit in my car.
What else?
The
do you
mattress
need?
can't though. I invested in a good mattress.
Put it on your roof.
Just fly with a mattress.
Yeah, why not?
Well, I don't have to move anytime soon, which is good. Because
I know I'm moving tomorrow.
is tomorrow the day? I thought it was Saturday.
Me too. They came early. They came really early, I thought too.
Whoa.
So, I know tomorrow is the day we're driving.
Wow.
That's insane. I know. I'm like stressed out.
I'm glad we're able to sit down and do this before you left though. I know that was like the whole point. You're like, I'm leaving Saturday. I'm like, oh.
He's like, let's just do it Thursday. I would have done it today anyway. I would have been like, Ryan, I want to do it. I'm so excited. So let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how long's that drive from here to Virginia?
So my whole thing with this move, I completely excluded myself from the planning of it. I was just like, I'm just going along for the ride, people.
Wow.
So I'll help you pack.
Yeah.
More than that, I'll just go along.
Yeah, it's like, let me know where I need to be and at what time, and I'll be ready.
And as long as we make bathroom stops, I'm good to go. But I think they said that, I think they want to try and do it in 4 days. I think so. Because originally we would have done 10 days, right? So we would have stopped in different states, and we would have explored a little. And I got so excited because my dad was like, yeah, we're gonna go to Nashville and like see the honky tonks, and you know, a South African being like, oh my goodness, pop, like the honky tonks, that's the thing you see on TV. Like you get so excited. And now it's just like, so the movers are gonna be there sooner, so we need to like wrap this up and like go. And I was like, oh, so I said, no honky tonks no more. I said, okay, Papa.
Not stopping in Nashville anymore?
I don't know. If we do, I'll definitely send you a text. I mean, come on, Ryan, you know me. I'll keep you updated. Let me know.
I've never been to Nashville. I've heard good things. It looks cool.
I know. I just see them man dancing in the street on them Footloose song, and I said, okay, this is only what you see in movies, like I said.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely interesting, seeing things like in real life here that you could have only seen on like TV, and it's like, oh, so that's actually what it looks like. Oh, so that's what they sound like. So it's really interesting.
Is like in South Africa, are you exposed to a lot of American I guess media or like culture?
I want to say like yes and no. So right now I know that like our arts and like theater or anything like that, it is it's either picking up, doing really well, or it's dying down. So now with Netflix obviously coming out, people tend to just watch American shows just because this is where it's happening. This is where it's at. Hollywood, like all the shooting locations. It's just what we grew up with, and you learn different actors and you know their names, and you're just like, oh wow, I love him, like he's so good. And so that definitely is also one of the things. But I mean, it's how you view it. It's, you either grew up with like just South African TV or radio. Like my parents, they're all like traditional South African radio. Like there's a radio station, it's called Springbok Radio.
Okay.
That's like something they used to listen to, and they would sit and listen to it till midnight.
Wow.
Like, yeah, just to hear their songs,
Oh,
like,
wow.
ooh.
Okay.
And they used to have like dances and just like, so we call it soki. You would soki around the dance floor, and it's kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's like all the stuff that like I said, it just depends on how you look at it. Me myself, I really loved watching movies, like American actors and TV shows. Like I really loved it, and that was also my second home language in school, so I picked up pretty quickly on it. And I think I told you the other day, like I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to go to Broadway until I was like actually on the stage acting, and I got like all freaked out, and I was like, I'm good. I'm like, I thought I had this handled. I clearly do not. I loved it though. Loved working with like the director, and like our team was simply amazing and everything. But I think my stress and my anxiety is just too much to be like performing. So I mentioned it too. Like I love being on the back end a lot more.
Yeah, just helping the production move
yes,
forward.
I love doing that. Love managing all that stuff. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So you went from law to theater and then now to business?
Oh, dude, deadass. That's me. I do it all.
No, that's cool.
I'm like, if you need my number, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
If you need
Like, I'll manage your business, I'll act in a movie, and I'll be your lawyer.
I might have sing a little too. I'm kidding.
Oh, there you go. You sing?
I mean, I told you at one point, I told the team here, I was like, yeah, so I used to be in like this little serenade group. Like, so our university had this thing every year. You would like, so we say sleep. So you would sleep with a different, like what do you call it? Like dorm. You guys call it dorms?
Yeah.
So, or frat houses. Like,
Oh,
that's what you would call
you were in a frat?
I was not, no, I don't want to call it that. I was like so mine was called.
Like a performing group, I'm assuming.
So ours, basically it's just like the different, I'm trying to think of the word. What do you call it? Again, my brain going too fast right now. Hostel. We call it hostels. Yeah. So mine was called Minunit, and the one that we were paired with were Pagdorp. So they were like a sports hostel, like rugby and right.
Whoa.
So and then we sang together as like a whole big group, and so after that too, I was like, I'm good. I'm okay. I think I just be backstage. Yeah. There's like a lot of things that I look back on right now, and I'm like, how did I get myself in that situation and not realize that that is not for me?
Yeah. Well, sometimes you don't know it's not for you until you're in that situation. You go, cool, I'm glad I gave this a try.
But I'm good.
But I think I'm okay.
No, seriously though. Yeah. It's fun.
I found out pretty early on that performing was not for me.
Yeah.
But you can imagine 12-year-old Ryan in middle school. I had gotten kind of like pressured into joining this group. We were called Encore, and we were a singing and dancing group.
Yes, you told me about it.
We had a Christmas show, yeah. And at one point, like we had like group performances, but at like the bulk of the show was that everyone would have a solo song. Either by yourself or it'd be a duet. And so I chose one. Little did I know, they gave us a list, and I saw the first one on the list. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And I saw that one, I knew it. I'm like, all right, I'll take that first one. But I didn't realize that was the order. So I was the first person. And so
before?
Yeah, I was the first person to perform like out of all the solos. And while everyone was getting, like, we had to basically run it. So we had a group performance, but I had dipped out a little bit early so I could change into my solo outfit and then go back on stage. And so I was on stage by myself, there just with a light on me, and I'm sitting there holding the mic, and I'm like just so nervous. I'm supposed to like dance and
Right.
yeah, and just move back and forth. I'm like, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It was terrible. I'm just like looking straight down. It's on DVD somewhere.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that.
You're not gonna see that.
You're gonna send that to me, and then I'm gonna screenshot it again. And
Yeah,
then I'm gonna post
yeah,
it
just
on
like
your birthday. Like
it'll be that next to the
Ryan's,
speeding
ticket
camera.
that he has.
Yeah, I have my finger up my nose.
He
That
was
was pretty
digging real
funny.
deep for that one.
Yeah, that was actually on my way home from here. It was just in the neighborhood that's around the corner. There's a speeding camera. I didn't know. That was the night I was supposed to be off at 10, and I didn't end up leaving until about midnight. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I was helping people in their rooms. We had some lady that drank too much and like knocked out in the bushes.
That was when the fire department showed
Yeah, it was when the
up as
paramedics
well.
had to come and
Right, yeah.
make sure that she was good. And
Oh man.
yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I remember it was.
That was like what, your third week in, I think, and I felt
Yeah,
so
maybe
bad.
there a month.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
there
about a month.
yeah.
And then I felt so bad leaving you, and I was like, Ryan, if you need anything, just let me know. I'll just be at Postino's right next door. Like, don't hesitate. I ask you, hey, how's it going? Yeah, so the fire fire
the
department
paramedics are
is here. But it's all good. I got it covered. Heyo. Oh man, I was just like, okay, Ryan, thank you.
Yeah, that was a rough night, and wasn't paying attention, going like over like 40 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone with my finger up my nose.
I was like, now I know what you do in your car.
I don't even really like
When you
like
drive
hey, if
home.
there's something up there, I'm just like I'm by myself, like I'll get it out, but it's not a common occurrence. It's not like I drive, I'm like, oh sweet, I'm finally in my car so I can shove my finger up my nose. It just got me at a really bad time.
Just be like, where's the camera? Let me just get this perfect timing real
Yeah.
fast. 1, 2, 3. Oh.
I'm like, there's the camera. Okay, and we're good.
Oh man, that's way too funny.
Yeah, it was bad when it came. I remember too, it got sent to my parents' house, and my mom took a photo, and she goes, hey, it looks like you have a ticket from Scottsdale. I'm like, oh,
no.
crap.
Why would they send it to your parents' house? Are you still like registered?
Yeah, that's my legal address. I haven't changed it. I don't know why. I'm just lazy.
Oh my goodness.
I should change it though. I think that could
I think that
create
would.
problems for me.
Right. Yeah.
But yes, the ticket got sent to my parents' house. My mom sent me a photo, and it was from a camera, and so this is not legal advice. I just want this is not legal advice, but I was told with a camera, you don't have to pay it unless you're legally served the papers, because they're like, there's no way to prove that you actually got the ticket in the mail. Scottsdale as a city, I think they will actually I forget the exact title of the person who does this, but they'll basically, if you don't pay your ticket, they will hire someone to go and serve the ticket to you. And I believe they're the only city in Arizona that will do that out of state. They're crazy about it. They want their revenue. But yeah. So I mean, like, people will come and knock on the door. As long as you don't answer, it's okay. But then they're also the only city that will get a court order. So basically get approved to tape it to either your front door or your garage door. And that counts as like being served legally.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they're the only city that do that. And so I was freaking out. I'm like, man, there's no way I can get out of this ticket. And I opened it up after going to my parents' house, saw my neighbors, took my mail, and I sat in the car. I'm like, okay, let's see what the damage is. Open it up. There's no fine associated with it. They were just letting me know, hey, buddy.
We saw you picking your nose.
Yeah,
so.
I'm wondering if the person processing it saw that photo and they're like, nah, man, I'm not going to charge this guy money. Like, he looks like he has a lot going on with that finger up his nose.
I mean, he must have had a real rough night.
Yeah.
Little did he know.
Yeah.
You actually did.
I did, yeah. It literally had to use myself as a crutch for this lady, because trying to get her to her room. She refused medical help. So we're like, okay. And yeah, it wasn't until she started just throwing up all over herself. We're like, oh, we should probably call the paramedics. This looks like a bad situation.
Oh man.
But yeah, it was funny too. Left the house. I'm out in my car and I see that. I'm cracking up to myself in my car, and I'm like, whatever. Get out of my car, go back into the house, and like my parents there, my neighbors are there. They're all in the middle of brunch, and they're like, "Oh, did you forget something?" I go, "Who wants to see a photo of me picking my nose on the speed cam?" And because I'm really close with my parents and my next door neighbors to my parents' house in Goodyear. Like they're like my second parents. I call them my Arizona mom and dad. Just because like they were looking out for me when I was out here by myself, and so like I don't care. Like I'm just like, yeah, look at this. Like
that is too funny.
Yeah, that's a bad photo. So it'll be that, and it'll be Singing in the Snow. That was the name of the show that we did for Encore.
Singing in the Snow.
Singing in the Snow. It was a Christmas performance. So we're up there in our little sweaters and our slacks.
I don't know. I'm expecting like a little snap video for Christmas from you now.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, fine.
It's on DVD. I don't even know where the DVD is. I know my mom had it for a while, but then she just kept showing people the video. She goes, "Look at Ryan singing."
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad, so I took it.
Insane. That's also a thing, like when Netflix and everything started here in the States, we were still watching DVDs in South Africa.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We used to purchase them. Now you can't even purchase like a DVD anymore because everything is being streamed online.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like your shows and everything. So
I know that there's still people that collect DVDs.
I know collectibles, but I don't even know like if do they even make DVD machines anymore? I don't even know.
I don't know. I know I had this I don't even know what to call it. I guess it was a CD/DVD reader that I could just plug into my computer. Right. So if you do have any DVDs, you can just get one of those and like pop it into your computer or your TV.
That's cute.
I'm sure they do. I don't know. I don't know if they still do. Everything's just streamable. Just like you've got your smart TV or Apple TV or Roku or whatever.
Well, most of the people in South Africa are with it now too because we got Disney Plus.
Okay, there you go.
We got Disney Plus just like last year in South Africa.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Do things go there like... Are they released on a delay, or what is it? Do you know what it depends on?
I think it's more a thing of like, I think it's just like development wise, and you know we are a third country, we're developed, but it just takes longer, I guess. Like even with, so I remember in 2000, I think it was 2018 when Bohemian Rhapsody was released. I watched it here in the States in like December. And that was when it was just released. I told my dad, I'm like, I'm gonna fly all the way out here to like see you guys, and then we're gonna go watch Bohemian Rhapsody. And then I went to watch it with my mom, and they released it only in January, so basically like a month later.
Oh, okay.
And it was in theaters like for a month and then got out, where here it was in theaters for so long. I remember, because it was such a hit. So things tend to not disappear, but disappear quickly and, you know, appear very late.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And when things like that do get released in South Africa, what language? Is it in English, or is it like a dub, or are there different options? Because I know, so I think your dad told you to tell me to do research before this, and I did.
Good job.
I watched a 40-minute video on YouTube this morning titled 101 Facts About South Africa.
Oh my God. Did you? Really?
I did. I actually did. I laid in bed for 40 minutes, and I'm like, just looking at my phone.
What would be on there? Just like 2 or 3 things.
I know that there's 9 different provinces, 11 different languages, and I think you have 3 capitals.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I remember.
Look at you go.
Yeah.
Me being like, I haven't been in school for a while, so if I get this wrong, Mom, I'm sorry. Don't judge me.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good. I didn't know anything about South Africa. I just knew where it was, and I knew that the accent's really cool. I love South African accents.
We try. That's basically how it would sound like. That was actually one of the most things that popped up too. People didn't know what it looked like, so obviously questions that I got when I was first here were the following. Did you grow up in a hut? No, I did not. I grew up in a house. Is it all desert? Do you like drive with jeeps around there? Is it all sand? And I was like, no, it's really not. That's Namibia. So, and that's like just right next to South Africa, like above it, half and half. That's basically all desert, but not in South Africa itself. No. And then of course, how did you get here? And I'm like, I swam all the miles in the ocean. I was like, a plane. Like, how do you think?
Guess.
Like, there is civilization over there. There are cities, there are people, there are jobs, and businesses and stores and food chains too. We have a McDonald's and we have a, what do you guys call it here? Kentucky. We just call it KFC over there.
Yeah, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
Yeah. Classic.
And then we have Burger King too. That was like our go-to. When I was in college, like on Sundays after church, we would love to go to like Burger King, and I would always tell myself, no, you're on a diet, you have like a strict, and then I was like, nah. I was like, I just got out of church. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So that's what we would do. And then the most frequent question is, why are you white?
Oh.
That is the most frequent thing.
Yeah.
And people also mistake me for African American. I'm like not American whatsoever. I am like South African. That's my nationality. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but if you get citizenship here, like, are you like South African American? No.
Okay.
I'm like South African through and through, but if I'm blessed enough to, get my citizenship one day, which I'm working towards. Right now I'm just a permanent resident on a green card. But if I do get my citizenship, still South African, but American citizen. So just to clear that up for those who did not know.
Yeah. And going through that process, would you have dual citizenship, or is it like one or the other?
So you have a choice. You can do dual citizenship. I didn't quite understand the whole term in the beginning, but then my parents explained it to me, like, once you have dual citizenship, you would still have to pay like taxes and everything in South Africa, because you would be considered a resident there or a citizen there. So you would still have to pay because you're a part of the state or province or country. If you're here, same thing. So at the end of the day, you kind of have to weigh your options, like, because the currency over there is very, very weak against like the dollar. So it would be more expensive for me to have dual citizenship because I have to pay taxes in 2 countries now at this point. So both my parents did make like that sacrifice. They were like, okay, we're gonna give up our South African citizenship. We're still South Africans at heart. We have the root. We still talk the language. We have friends there. We have family, so we know it. But in order for us to have a future here in the States, we have adapted to this culture, and this is what we're going with, and we changed our lives, and this has worked for us for the better. So that's the mindset that we're going with, which is pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah, a full commitment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, because I didn't really know what South Africa looked like. I mean, I was familiar with like Cape Town and Cape Cod.
That's the most popular part, I would say. Everyone is like, I think Table Mountain and like...
Yeah, Table Mountain too.
Yeah, like sometimes the penguins in Simon's Town. People are familiar with.
That was one of the things I learned about today.
You did?
No, I mean, it's a beautiful country though. Yes. It is. I also didn't realize that there's a country within it. What is it? Lesotho or... I don't...
Lesotho?
That's
how you say it.
Yeah,
Lesotho.
Okay. Thanks.
I've never been. But yeah, Lesotho.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I know. It's kind of weird, but yeah. I mean, and it was so much fun. One of the employees here, he's from Ghana. So, Seydou.
Okay.
So it was, shout out to Seydou. So it was so much fun, like, having someone like by my side, and people would ask me like all these weird questions and stuff, and then Seydou is also like, no, that's not it. Like, it's completely different. Like, you can't compare the two. It's it's very different than what people would expect it to be. Oh, one question I did have one time was, are there zebras in your street? And I was
Who
like,
are these people? Who are these people?
it was just like general questions that I got
Wow.
when I first moved here, because obviously you're in a new environment, so people try and make conversation, and it was so much fun. Like, I still have a lot of friends from my first property. Most of those questions come from them. So
Okay.
love you guys. And the one thing that I told them every single day when I left property was "vi sut." That means be good. It's like when I tell you guys, be good, Ryan. Don't you go do anything I won't do. Like, picking your nose. I'm kidding.
Yeah. We are for the most part.
Right. So, "vi sut." And then every single day when I would leave, everyone would be like, "vi sut." And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm learning American South African. I love this journey for myself. I'm like teacher at heart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know. Yeah, we're typically good. A couple nights ago when at your going away party, I don't know if we were good.
Oh my goodness.
It was good. It was a good time.
It was a way to get a good time.
Yeah. Thought that was funny.
Shout out to Ryan for giving me a wake up call the next morning.
I was given a heads up. It was like, hey, you might want to call Elanka.
Oh my goodness.
Just to make sure that she's awake for your shift.
So funny. I was awake and I was only 5 minutes late. I'm like so proud of myself for that one.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my dad completely misread the situation. He's like, maybe he's calling you so you don't have to go to work. And I was like, I don't think that's it.
No.
I don't think that's
Working
it.
an overnight, I'm trying to leave as close to 6 a.m. as possible.
Meanwhile, I show up at like 6:20. I'm like, hopefully none of the managers hear this right now.
I'm just sitting behind the desk, just looking at the clock like, I want to go home and go to bed so bad.
I'm so sorry. And then you end up going home and doing what? Riding your bike.
Oh, yeah,
and
then I
going-
rode my bike 12 miles and hung out in the park, and then I went to bed.
Right. See?
Yesterday, I didn't sleep at all.
After you got relieved?
Yeah, so not last night, but the night before, worked 10 to 6, and went home and just had my whole day and went to sleep at midnight.
Which
like
is
last
actually
night.
good because you have off today, so
I have today off, so I can actually
do it.
be awake during the day and sleep at night, which is fun. But yeah, then
Oh,
tomorrow I work another overnight shift. So
Exciting times.
yeah, I'm gonna be partying all night on Friday.
Oh my goodness.
Gonna be in the office.
I was like, no. Well, I mean, the next day, everyone coming in from like that party, all of us were just like,
Everyone was slow.
yeah, everyone was just like, how are you feeling? Riley, she's like, I'm still waking up.
Yeah.
I'm like, hi.
Yeah, I was just like having a good time. I really wasn't paying attention to the time. And like before I know it, I'm like, wait a minute, I finished my bottle of wine. Oh, wait a minute, I have to clock in 15 minutes. Like, oh.
But you walked over here, right?
Yeah, I just walked over. Well, and okay, so the thing is, I don't know if I shared this with you. I was sitting down. We were sitting on those couches the whole time.
Yeah.
And having a good time. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I feel fine. I'll be okay. And then I get up, and that's when you feel it, when you stand up. And I started walking, and I'm like,
and then
dog, I have to clock in for work right now. And I'm like walking over like, I'll be fine. Like, it's overnight. It's cool. So
oh,
yeah,
man.
probably it was a little oopsie on my part.
It's so funny. But it was such a good time. I feel like right before I like leave,
Mm-hmm.
that was a good get together. And especially like all of us never hung out outside of work. So it was definitely good like seeing everyone in a different like way but still the same way. It's really fun. It's super nice. It's rare that you get such a good team of coworkers that you can hang out with at work and outside of work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. This is such like a positive work environment.
Oh yeah, well,
everyone's so cool.
that's one thing that I'm gonna miss, and that's one thing that I told Brandon. He's our GM here. Shout out Brandon. We just saying shout out after
just shout out the whole team.
Boom. He was like, Elanka, like, you're so young. You're going to learn so much. You know, moving to Virginia is maybe good. You never know. Or you'll come back. You never know. And then I was just like, stop being so positive. Like, stop. And he's like, I have to be. Like, I have to be positive for you. Like, I believe in you. And I know you can do all these things. And I'm just like, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah. It can really make the difference. The people you work with, you can have a cool job, but if the people are negative, it's not a great work environment. Like, you're not gonna like it. And the opposite is true. Like the job itself, I mean, this job's incredible. I like every aspect of it. But I've worked at in previous places where the work itself sucks, but the team I'm with is so good.
It makes
the
work.
job.
Oh,
Makes
yeah.
the job. I'm like, I'm willing to like work with these people. These people
I feel
are awesome.
that.
Yeah.
I feel that too. I know. And like for me, doing my first job in hospitality here, so scary. I was like, wow, you really chose the most difficult position you could. Front desk agent. Like, let's just jump on in and get yelled at the first spot.
Oh, no.
And like, I remember the one guest that I checked in, that was like my first official check-in, like after my training and everything. I didn't know how you pronounce half the cities in this state. I still don't. So, but I was like, oh, hey, so you're from Tucson. And it's Tucson.
Yep.
And then the lady was just like, you're new here, aren't you? And I was like, I'm actually like kind of like foreign, but I was like, I'm gonna throw that card on the table real fast.
Yeah.
Save myself.
Yeah. It's like I'm foreign.
And she was like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, South Africa. And then so we had name tags with like where you're from, and then people would always like read in on it. And so Peoria is just like next to Glendale, so I live in Glendale right now. And then they would always think I'm like from Peoria, South Africa, and they're like, where's that? And I'm like, it's actually Pretoria. That's like my hometown, but thanks. I'm like, not from the States though. Have a good day. Yeah. So yeah, that was super interesting. And then like coming, am I allowed to say that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Can you cut that out?
I can if you want. Or we can leave it in. I don't know. I mean, today's your last day.
Today
so.
is my last day, and I loved it so much here. So yeah. But coming here, like not having a name badge, like, and you have to present your name, and especially, you know, people would be like, where's your name from? Like Elanka. So you actually pronounce it in my language, Elanka. So a lot of people have difficulty with the pronunciation of it. And so I just started going by Elanka because it's just a lot easier for you guys to pronounce. So, and then they would always think I'm from like Russia. Like, are you from Russia? And I'm like, well, no, not no. I mean, I kind of get where you're coming from. And then once I start talking and they're like, oh, South Africa. So that's like kind of like what, Dutch? And then I'm like, yes, it kind of sounds that way. So yeah.
Yeah. If you could have like, if you have any advice for someone thinking about going to the States, or maybe like one thing or a few things that you wish you knew maybe before this whole process, is there anything that comes to mind?
Ooh. Know the area that you're going to, I feel like. With that, just do like a little bit of research in the sense of, okay, let's say I'm moving to Arizona. I'm gonna live in Glendale. What is there to do? Not that I've been doing that for Virginia right now. Like I said, I excluded myself from everything. Maybe I should follow my own advice. But that's what I would do. And then my mom always told me about like groups on social media where you can like connect with fellow South Africans. There's a lot of us here. Like it's kind of insane. I on Tuesday nights I used to go to my Bible study group, and so I met someone there, and he was like, he lived in South Africa, and we started talking about like all the fun South African things to do. So it's just like finding like the right people. And it's so funny too, because I would meet Americans and they would be like, hey, I used to know a South African, he actually lives in like this place, or I know him, let's invite him. And then it's like, oh really, you know someone from South Africa? That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So you can like connect with people on social media too, so that's also a way. But the good thing for me was I had family here, so if I had to do it all by myself, I think I would have been in a completely different situation. But you do get South Africans that come to the States alone. Like my friend, he is now in Texas. He's like farming over there.
Oh wow.
And so he came by himself, and he used to call me. He used to be like, hey, so I'm like feeling kind of lonely. I just need a friend right now. And we would talk for hours on the phone. You know, he would ask me, how did you adapt to this? How do you handle a situation like that? what if people call you out on like your English or like, you know, how you sound? And that was also one of the big things. I think a lot of people thought that I was stupid because I didn't understand American culture. I didn't understand the customs. I didn't understand the slang or stuff like that. I you know, I was like, I don't know what you guys like or are into, so I had to learn that. I had to learn how to, you know, get along in the culture that I'm in, you know, and definitely met a lot of people that helped me along the way. So, I mean, once you're here and you like start adapting to your environment, then you're gonna make friends and you'll be good to go. And, you know, a lot of people start out with like the au pairing. We call it au pair. It's au pairing, right?
I don't know if I know what that is.
So it's like you're basically a nanny for a family.
Oh,
so
yeah, I have heard
like
of that. Okay.
Yeah. So most South Africans would do that too, and then they would travel abroad with like the whole family, and then, you know, so that's something that most South Africans would do too. And then again, you know, once you live with that family, they help you out. They, you know, make you. But it's good to know where you're going at least, or make yourself aware.
It's like be familiar with the area, and then once you're there, find a community.
Yeah, basically. Cool. And I found mine here in Arizona, and I'm so sad to leave you guys. But
well, now you'll always have a community in Arizona,
I know,
so
and that's
you gotta
what
come back
love.
and visit.
Oh yeah, that's what I love about it. I'm like, yes, please. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for doing this.
You're welcome.
Very first podcast.
I know.
Like technically the very first one filming. First time I've set this up outside my bedroom, so this is a cool experience.
I love it. Yeah.
But, yeah, thanks for being here. You can tell the people where to find you. I think you have a fun Instagram. You have your whole aesthetic up there. I don't know if you want to put that out or anything.
Yes. So my Instagram, what is it? Instagram handle? That's what you guys call it?
Yeah, I think so.
I
don't know. I'm not with the times.
I'm also not lit. I'm not hip. I've been told that multiple times.
Yeah, I always call it username, but that's
okay. Like, let's do that one. My username. So it's basically just ELANK and then _A. Just that little slide A.
There you go.
So that's it. And yeah, I mean, my journey is on there too, you know.
Yeah.
Don't post a whole lot, but when I do, have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
And the journey's going to continue going to Virginia.
Oh, yes. Exciting, scary, but I mean, I did it once before.
Yeah.
What's moving a state?
You got it.
Oh, thank you, Ryan, for having me.